Hello, friends, and welcome to this World Cricket Chat podcast in which we dissect, analyze, and predict some of the international and domestic cricket matches from around the world. Today, we are looking at the match between West Indies and Australia, which will be played at St. Kitts on Monday. And I have Shruti Chopra, a Mumbai based tarot reader, with me as usual. And the next voice you'll hear will be that of her.
Hi Suneer, hope you've had your doses of caffeine after that rather long sporty Saturday evening that began with the Euro Cup and culminated into the Australia-South Africa match for you. Now it's West Indies up against Australia. What do you make of them?
Well, Shruti, first of all, yes, it was an exciting Saturday night for a sports fan like me, and more so when Russia scored that injury time equalizer against our favorite side, England. But quickly moving on to cricket, West Indies have had an 8-day break, which will probably mean they'll need to recharge their batteries going into this game. It won't help them that they'll be going up against the strongest of the three teams on a pitch which might not be as slow as the one at Guyana in the first leg of the Tri-Series. At the start of the tournament, I frankly thought West Indies wouldn't be winning any games in this Tri-Series. They would probably run their opposition close in a couple of games, but that's about it. Then they started off with that win against South Africa, and I've shown that if the pitches work in their favor, and by that I mean they are on the slower side, which reduces the potency of oppositions, they could cause a surprise or two, but I'm not sure the one at the Warner Park will be as much to their liking as the Guyana surface.
When you say work in the favor of West Indies, what do you mean?
Well, it's just that on a slower, more spin-friendly pitch, the advantage and otherwise far superior Aussie side gets blunted to an extent, because if there's one weakness that they have, and it's not a major weakness, but yes, it's not one of their positives on that such type of surfaces and against quality spin bowlers, and that's what the West Indies have in their lineup.
So they have spinners, Sunil Narayan and Suleiman Ben, but can they rely on anyone else here?
How they would have loved to have someone like a Chris Gale or a Dwayne Bravo here, Shruti. Gale with his quick fire half century at the top, even taking on someone like Adam Zampa, who has been in form with his leg spinners. Bravo with those changes of pace while bowling, making it tad difficult for most opposition batsmen. But well, the pair isn't here, and that means they need a more concerted effort from everyone else, and not just rely on one or two of them. So that's what they're looking at here, that the entire team chip in with the contributions and efforts and try and make a match of it. Let me guess, Shruti, your cards don't make for a great reading for the West Indies?
Well, it's not as simple as that, and it isn't as bad as that, Suneer, either. Instead, West Indies are charged up to compete and certainly give the Australians a run for their money. They're going to enjoy this encounter. They're going to try and be a little bit more aggressive and will attempt to get on the opposition's nerves. They'll mean some serious business.
Well, West Indies and Australia have had some history between them, but in this case, in a 50-over match, won't that affect their own focus?
Well, I agree with that. It will disturb their own direction, and I just think they will run out of steam. This isn't a tactic they can maintain, just like you're saying, it's a 50-over match. In fact, they will find themselves forced to be more defensive towards the latter end of the game. This is where I feel aggression needs to be paced. If they can do that, then great. Now, their batting looks fairly promising to me. Some elementary errors will come to the forefront, but they should manage a sound innings. Where I'm most concerned is with their bowling. It can start a lot better. It ends up giving the Australian batsmen a lot of breathing space, and fielding too won't be at their best. Moving on to Australia, what do you make of their performance in the Tri-Series so far?
Had said this after the first game, they looked a tad rusty, and I still feel they aren't playing at their best yet, not at their 100% for sure. But the good news from their perspective is that their win against South Africa was a comeback from behind victory and the return to form for Steven Smith. And we have all seen David Warner's continuing brilliance with the bat.
So you saw that century Warner hit against South Africa. Is he playing the best you have ever seen?
I'm not sure about being be the best at the levels that he has played, but there's one thing that's changed, and it's how he wants to get on with the business of scoring runs. We all have known Warner to be an aggressive and to an extent an impatient and an impulsive batsman. But what I'm seeing in him is a Michael Hussey-like streak, a streak that makes him look hungrier for runs and that can barely be good news for any opposition bowlers.
Wow, that's some comparison. But speaking of news, Warner suffered an injury in that last game, and we're still awaiting news on whether he will be fit for this encounter. So, about that win over South Africa, set up by Warner and Smith, but executed by the bowlers.
Well, it was set up by Warner and Smith and executed by the Aussie bowlers. I must also add a tiny point here. It was also aided in no small way by the way the South African batsmen collapsed. They should have scored the 79 runs that they needed from the final 74 balls with AB de Villiers and 7 wickets still in hand. But fair play to the Aussies for the way they choked the scoring. And I use the word choke for scoring and not for South Africa here. Got de Villiers out and triggered the South African collapse. Stark took 3 more wickets to go with the 2 that he had taken in the first match. And Hazelwood and Zampa chipped in with 3 apiece again. The pitch did slow down considerably on that Warner Park surface. So that's something that 2 captains will need to worry about going into this game. Shruti, what do the cards say about the Aussie performance in this one? Any worries for them?
Well, the Australians have smelt blood. They have great momentum. They feel they can dig themselves out of any situation need be. But that's how Australia have been for years. They know how to fight, and they will need to in this game as well. Suneer, I'm a little concerned about 2 things. The opening batsmen will seem quite slow to get started. Maybe the Windies' aggression might get to them initially, and it's this tentative phase in which most application will be needed. Bowling is the second thing. It may just be an expensive start, but luckily for them, the cards favour them to recover. And another blessing should be the near-perfect fielding.
Wow, this is turning out to be a complex game, Shruti.
Yes, it surely seems that way. I'm tempted to give up my sleep and stay up for this one.
Well, and that does mean that you're predicting Australia might come away winners in this one?
Well, after attempting to explain all the complexities of this game, I still feel there is one team that makes a stronger case. And so, yes, it is Taro Advantage Australia. What do you think, Suneer?
I think I'll be playing it safe here as well and consider Australia to stroll to a victory here.
Super, we agree on something. And on that positive note, please do subscribe. And as always, we'll be back soon with more. Till such time, have a great week ahead.